but we start with Auburn losing last night to Vanderbilt. And I will start off by saying I may be overreacting to last night's loss, because the more I sit here and go over it, last night when the buzzer sounded at Neville Arena, I was like, man, this is a bad loss.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I am prepared to say this is a 50-50 bubble team right now. And I'll give you some numbers to back this up. Last year was different in the SEC. It felt different.
Yeah, it was different.
Well, even when you had a couple of 6 and 12s in Texas and Oklahoma that got into the NCAA tournament, and you had 2 teams in LSU and South Carolina, the only teams that weren't in, I think the national perception of this league is different this year, as well it should be.
It is.
There's not a top-end team. Now, Florida could end up being that team. Arkansas is playing well right now. Kentucky's playing well, but it doesn't seem like teams that can maybe win a national championship. 18-win teams getting at large is typically a difficult thing. And when you look at Auburn, they've got 7 games left. Now, they do have 4 quad wins, which is good.
Well, they get the second toughest schedule in the nation. They showed that graphic last night. That's going to help you.
That's right.
That's going to help. And I think it is really going to be on the committee how much they value strength of schedule. We will see this.
Oh, they always value it really good, though.
Typically,
yeah.
But 18 wins is 18 wins if they get to 18 wins. So sitting at 14-10, their final 7 games. I went through this. They're going to be underdogs at Arkansas and at Bama for sure. But the other 5 games, you're definitely favored over Ole Miss and LSU, but your coin flips against Mississippi State, Kentucky, Oklahoma. So you lose the 2, you're underdogs. You win the 2, you're favorite. Then you got 3 games out there. What do you do in those 3 games? You go 2-1, you're sitting at 18 wins. You go 1-2, you're at 17 wins. I don't think 17 wins gets
17,
you in.
17, even with that schedule, that's going to be difficult.
I think 17 still gets them in, but
definitely bubble.
They have not lost a quad 4 game. They haven't lost a quad 3 game. They're 2-1 in quad 2s. They're 4-9 in quad 1 games. So they've played 13 Q1 games.
But you're 4-9.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. In basketball, it doesn't matter.
That's crazy.
So bad.
I know, but it does.
You played the games. I mean, it rewards you, unlike football, it rewards you for playing the games. And we all know the Houston outcome was a one ball in hand. They should have won that game. That would have been, they'd be 5-8. That looks a little different.
It'd be huge with a win over Houston.
Yeah, but I don't even know how Michigan and Arizona can even count. I know they're Q1 losses.
That's right.
But they got their dicks kicked.
But by the 2 best teams in the country.
I know, but I'm just saying, I don't know how you can get any value out of that.
Well, you do, though, just by playing them. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if I'm a committee meter, it's great that you schedule that, but you're not competitive in those games.
The problem is down the road is the schedule is like you just said, it's not easy. With Arkansas, Kentucky, and Alabama still out there.
No, that's a pretty easy schedule, actually.
I would, if we're going to play basketball courtroom as we seem to do in modern day basketball history,
We're a lot of that
I would
here.
say I offer Alabama's remaining schedule as Exhibit A.
No, it's the opposite of Alabama's. Alabama's got a very favorable remaining schedule. They've played the tougher part of their schedule. I mean, it's hard to say Auburn hasn't played the tougher part of their schedule because they've already played Florida on the road.
With a win. By the way,
they did win.
They've beaten Florida.
That's a big one.
They've beaten St. John's, and they've beaten NC State. Those will be good wins no matter what day.
Really good team they are playing left is Arkansas this weekend. I mean, Kentucky's playing good right now, but you get that game at home. And then you're at Alabama. Alabama's not in the same situation, but,
Yeah, but you're reeling off by looking at at all the bracketology. You're just now reeled off 5 seeds and 4 seeds.
Okay, so let me ask you this: you just said you thought it was a bad loss. So bad loss just aesthetically, or bad loss for what can happen at the end of the season?
I thought it was a bad loss last night. The more I sit here, I'm panicking. If I'm worried about Auburn getting into the tournament. I'm concerned about the team. Let's talk about the actual game on the court and why we're concerned about it. Brought to you by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. Our friends at Woodhouse remind you Valentine's Day is when? Oh, it's Saturday. What am I going to do, Brown?
You're late.
It's Saturday?
You're late. You got no hope. There's no hope. You're done now.
Not a big deal. I mean, even if you get up Saturday morning, you can go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com or just stop in, see Stuart and the great staff. Beautiful location, newly renovated over the last couple of years right there at the Summit Shopping Centers. Buy that gift card. Let the significant other choose from the 70 menu options there, the body massages, the waxing, the skincare, the nail services. They They have got it all at the Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Again, stop in, tell them the next round sent you, or order 24/7 online. You got plenty of time to do it before Saturday. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Okay, so here's why I'm concerned as I turned off the TV. They've lost back-to-back home games to Alabama and Vandy, 2 tournament teams. But there's something that just isn't blending with this team. Keyshawn Hall setting a lot at the end of the game last night. One of your more dynamic scorers because he's really hurting you when he's on the floor last night for some reason. It wasn't part of your best 5-man rotation. Here's Stephen after the loss to Vandy, 84-76 at home.
One of our biggest emphasis was really attacking the paint, and I thought we did that a lot tonight. And, I'm not, I thought we should have gotten to the foul line more in the first half, just based on how aggressive we were attacking downhill. I think, the lack of us getting to the foul line led to some frustration, and it kind of carried over. So we got to do a better job of controlling our emotions, not interacting with the officials as much because they have a tough job. And, I thought that last, 8 minutes, the group we had out there did a great job of really fighting back and putting us in a position to, cut it to 4, and we get a stop, and we have a shot to cut it to 2. And, they did a great job executing down the stretch. And, another disappointing result. But, we continue to have great opportunities in front of us. We just got to find a way to, we got to improve. We got to get better.
I mean, nobody's more frustrated with that team than that guy right there.
And Dave Bradshaw, by the way, I didn't realize how much Chris Collinsworth Bradshaw has in his voice at times.
I don't know if that noticed that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now that you said it.
But, he brought up the fact that that Auburn was able to make that run without Keyshawn Hall. But, Keyshawn Hall's good. Tahad Pettiford struggled behind the arc last night, but he's still really good. I mean, they've got a good team. Kevin Overton's really good.
I mean, you look at that team when they beat Florida in Gainesville, and you thought to yourself, all right, they've turned a corner. They've figured it out. All these new parts they're playing together. And last night they didn't look like they were playing. What's the rotation? 7, 8 people now.
It's 8. Yeah.
It's like they're playing 8 different storylines right now.
Yeah,
nobody's playing as a team.
They cut it to 4 late without Keyshawn out there. And I thought the big play was the foul that Stephen was really upset with. And then Tahad comes down, and it's in and out on that basket. And that was kind of the moment where you kind of knew it was over. But Vanderbilt controlled that entire game. They led for 56 or 36 of the 40 minutes.
Yeah. Well, Tyler Trent's a menace. I mean, that guy is an absolute menace.
Oh, really good. Yeah.
Tyler Tanner.
Tyler Tanner, I'm sorry. Tyler Tanner is an absolute menace. I don't know what you do with that guy. I don't know how you defend him. I really don't. Like, Pettiford couldn't stay in front of him.
Allen Iverson.
I mean, that's really who it would take. The guy is so quick. He is in constant motion. I don't know how he is as well conditioned as he is because he never stops moving. He is so fun to watch. Just a tremendous player to watch.
He averaged 5 points per game last year.
Yeah.
And, Bradshaw brought that up on the broadcast. Like, we don't talk enough about the development from under Byington from year 1 to year 2 for Tyler Tanner.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that dude ain't 6 feet tall. They list him at 6.
They list him at 6'0". There is no way he's 6'0".
I think they include the Fletch hair, right?
Yeah, the 6'8" with the afro as Fletch was.
Yeah, he's 5'5" without it and 6 feet with the afro.
And they list him at 179. I don't think he's 179. I don't think he's either 6 foot or 179. I mean, that guy he's small, he's undersized, but he never stops moving.
Here's Stephen Pearl on Keyshawn Hall, last year's leading scorer in the Big 12, a big part of what Auburn does, not being in the game for basically the last half of the second half.
26 minutes for Keyshawn Hall, was not on the floor down the stretch. Seemed like it was after the technical foul that decision came to not put him back in. Can you kind of walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, I just went with the guys that I thought put us in the best position to get back into the game. And, we ended up cutting it to 4, and that group did a really good job of just grinding and fighting and clawing back in. And Vanderbilt did a really good job every time Key had the ball of just like plugging the paint and made it really difficult for him. And our offense wasn't really in sync when he was on the floor. So wanted to give us a different look and, went with those guys. And I thought, we had a lot of good minutes from Elijah. I thought Elijah played well. Obviously, he didn't shoot it great. But, got 8 big rebounds and, was really aggressive and, It was just it was a coach's decision. I just wanted to go with the group that I thought was going to help us get back into the game.
That is the part that scares me, because as I sit there and watch that, and to his credit, and they brought this up, Dane Bradshaw was terrific bringing it up on the broadcast, that he wasn't over there pouting. He was over there, still being a good teammate, still engaged and everything. But, I mean,
sometimes that works, though.
sometimes it does.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. And I will say, though, Auburn played much better in the second half. Down 11 at the break. They only shot 32% in the first half. I thought they played much better in the second half. And let me say this. I think Auburn probably is an 18-win team. I think they're going to be on the bubble. I think strength of schedule probably gets them in. I'm just saying if they're 17 or less with what they've got remaining, it's going to be really dangerous. But I also want to bring up the fact that I think Stephen Pearl is doing a good job. This is the transition. You can compare it to what you've got from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer. Say what you want.
I thought of this last night.
But Bruce Pearl is the greatest coach in Auburn athletic history. Yeah. And you're his son, which to me puts much more extra pressure on you. The
100%.
nepotism angle, all that kind of stuff. So this transition is not going to be as smooth as a lot of people think. So, people can take their shots at Steven right now, but easily this can be a tournament team. And if not, they're going to be right there on the bubble. And if for whatever reason they don't get in, the naysayer is going to be like, job's too big for him. I'm not saying that at all. We knew it was going to be a difficult first year, and this could go either way, but the transition is much more difficult than a lot of people believe.
Yeah, it's so weird you brought that up because I thought of it last night. There aren't real parallels between Pearl and Kalen DeBoer, like career-wise, but just the difficulty of following that is what you're saying. And I felt the same exact thing last night. I was like, it's a difficult act to follow. I mean, the year Auburn is having right now, Scott and I, it's funny, we were talking about this yesterday. I was like, unfortunately for Steven, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, depending on, if you want to go glass half full, glass half empty, the Auburn fan base now, their expectation is make the tournament every year.
It should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told Scott, Scott and I were talking in a break yesterday coming back from the men's room. I was like, there was a time where making the tournament 1 every 3 years was good. And Scott said 1 out of every 3. He was like, there were years, it was like 1 out of every 6. But, I mean, you've taken a job now where the expectation is you're in the NCAA tournament or it's a failure.
And to put that in perspective, Bruce Pearl's final 8 years, how many times did he miss the tournament?
Once.
One time.
Yeah.
Now, he missed 2020. That was a really good team. There were obviously COVID cut it short, but the year following 2020, 2021.
They were ineligible.
And I still think with the wins, losses, I don't think they were.
Yeah, who knows how it would have turned out if
But that was the only time. So, I mean, Auburn fans did get used to not only going to the tournament, but obviously multiple Final Fours.
I would say this. I would say that when you look at this team, what is the bubble? I mean, Brown and I were talking about this earlier. What do you call the bubble?
Yeah, where do you have to
right
be in
now
projections?
in Bracketology on ESPN Lenardi going into the game, they were 8th. And on CBSSports.com, their Bracketology out today, they're still an 8 on CBS, so they're 8.
But let's remember, 8 to 10 is really kind of dicey area that you're in.
10 is the last 4 buys. 11 is the last 4 in.
My point to Dunaway was.
So what's the bubble? To you guys?
Well, here was my answer. We're February 11th. My point to Dunaway was February 11th. Anything in the 8-9 game or below is on the bubble. Now, if we're in the first week of March and you're in the 8-9 game projection, I don't think you're on the bubble anymore. You feel pretty safely in at that point. The bubble has moved down.
With basically 4 full weeks to play.
Yeah, with a month to play, if I'm in the 8-9 game, I'm on the bubble because if I drop 2 games, I'm down to one of the low 10 seeds, which is 100% on the bubble at any time.
Yeah, you're definitely bubble adjacent.
Yes, I'm bubble adjacent.
But I think being on the bubble is teams around you also in your conference.
Yeah.
So, how many teams do you guys really believe get into the – I mean, last year was – it was ridiculous.
Well, right now, both the Big Ten and the SEC on both sides running about 10.
Okay, well, Auburn is 11th in the SEC standings right now, and I think 10 is probably the number. So
I wrote down the SEC teams that are below them in the Bracketology right now. Georgia, Texas are in the tournament below them. Missouri is out of the tournament but ranked below them right now too. So they're basically right there with Georgia and Texas. They're just ahead of Georgia and Texas.
So you guys would agree 4 and 3 probably in.
Yeah.
3 and 4 at 17 overall wins is dicey. Anything less than 3 and 4, there is no way they're
16 wins you're not in.
Yeah.
But with that schedule, then you're factoring in some losses that on paper you shouldn't have.
Now, what is going to
Probably.
be interesting is the Bediako factor. Back to your Bucky McMillan point, you know,
we got a whole
I know,
whole show to
I
do.
get
Okay,
it, but
okay.
I'm just saying, you know, if Bucky's bitching about it, I'm sure Steven will ultimately bitch about it. If you get to 16, 17, 18 wins and you're on the bubble, why would you not bitch about it?
But one more one more thing that is concerning about this.
Yes.
About this loss. Auburn is now 3-3.
I will warn you that I'm about to play a Stephen Pearl soundbite talking about people panicking. Do you want to wait until after you hear this to
do
dial
that.
this back?
No, do that.
Just so you're
there's
not,
no dialing it back.
So you're not a guy standing on top of the roof screaming at the stars and then Stephen calls you out here?
This is no panic. I'm just going to give you a number that is not debatable, okay?
Okay,
I'm going to give you a non-debatable number that is not panic. It's just a number that is a real number. All right.
Stephen Pearl last night after the loss about people doing what I was doing last night as he was saying this, panicking.
We got to stay consistent. Like I know, you know, people are going to be panicking right now, but you know, if you look going into this game, you know, based on our adjusted efficiency, we've been the second best team in our conference going into this game. You know, so while the results haven't been there, like this team has continued to get better. So we got to just trust what we're doing, but we also got to tweak some of the things that we're doing defensively to try and, you know, be a little more aggressive in some of the things that we're doing to give us an opportunity to make plays and not let teams be comfortable in what they're doing. You know, because you know we've shown that we've been able to win some games with our defense this year when our offense wasn't going, and we didn't do that tonight. You know, we shot 32% in the first half, and they shot 57%. So they did a really good job of executing in the first half, and you know our defense just wasn't as good as what it was in the last 10 minutes. So I got to do a better job getting these guys prepared, and I got to do a better job of making adjustments in game to give us a better chance to win these ones.
I mean, people are going to panic. I mean, it's just the way we're wired.
Once you got Todd Pettiford back, once he came back to school, even before Bruce retired, with Bruce or without, with Pettiford back, you thought to yourself,
you can build around him. Yeah, and you're going to be fine.
I don't care if we got 10 other new guys.
Yeah.
We got Pettiford back.
Now, I will say Auburn sitting at 5-6 in conference, 14-10 overall. When you look at the losses, there's no bad losses.
There were none.
I mean,
said that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, at Georgia, at Missouri, those aren't bad losses.
Nope. 2-1 in the quad 2. They haven't lost a quad 3 or a quad 4. That's why their resume is solid.
Right. The undebatable number I was going to bring up, it is a number, so it is factual. And you tell me if it's a big deal or not. Auburn is now 3-3 in conference play at home. That used to be an impossible place to play, and it has lost that edge now.
Yeah, and on the other side, Vanderbilt 6-2 on the road.
That's crazy to think
about. I mean,
about.
who had Vanderbilt the first 20-win team in the SEC this year?
Now, you can go back and debate the Texas A&M thing. It's a worthwhile debate. That was a weird ending. At best, a weird ending. Certainly a controversial ending. But 3-3 at home in conference play. That used to be a place they never lost, and that magic is gone.